single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hello Cancer, this is the Humble Soul and I'm here to do your first week of October's reading. This is an energy read, so please remember that your the energies can go vice versa, and this could have already happened or this is what you can expect coming up. I have it laid out like this because as you can see, this is 21 cards laying out. So no need for you guys to see me right now, and it's no need for me to you know, try to shift the camera around. So the layout is already here. I do have numbers, so you'll know when I'm speaking of which row I'm speaking of. You'll know which one it is, instead of having me try to move around to point out the cards for you. Okay, so Cancer, for the week of October 1st through the 8th, in your first row, we're going to talk about yourself. Either it's going to be you or how you're being viewed, but we're just going to go with yourself. You have the 9 of Swords, the 7 of Swords, and the 3 of Swords. That's a whole lot of air energy. Air energy is more or less mental energy. So you're in your head. You're in your head about maybe possibly a situation that you were either the aggressor or somebody was being very aggressive to you. The aggressive behavior kind of put a how can I put it? Kind of put a shield over the sneaky behavior that somebody was doing. It also is talking about someone who is feeling regretful of that. They're reflecting and thinking about how they may have acted or reacted to a situation. Okay, in your second row, you have the 5 of Swords, the 4 of Swords, and the 8 of Swords. Again, a lot of air energy, a lot of mental energy. So that means that you're still in your head. You come, and this is talking about the environment. So in the environment, you might have moved away from this aggressive person, or this person that was making you act aggressive. It's kind of like you got a victory. If you look at the 5 of Swords card in row 2, you got a victory, but the victory was kind of like hollow. It was like a hollow victory. You got away from the person, or you kind of won the battle, but it came at a price of you not being happy. So if this was a relationship, you know, you got away from the aggressive behavior and the person that was pretty much getting on your nerves, but then on the other hand, you're single and you're not happy with that. Then you go down to the 4 of Swords, and the 4 of Swords is talking about, you know, you kind of just retreat. You kind of just was like, you know what, I'll remove myself from the fires or whatever, but you're still in your head about it. You're still contemplating, you're still overthinking it. You're kind of letting that person, you kind of gave them a rope and letting them hang themselves, and you're not really fighting back with it. You're just letting it be what it is. With the 8 of Swords, you feel bound to the situation. You feel like you can't get out of it. But if you look at the 8 of Swords in that position, the sword is right behind her. It's tied up with her. So which means mentally you're tied up, but you can actually set yourself free. You have the power to do this. While you're not taking this power, it could be because you're just stuck in your head. I don't think this is something physical. I don't think you're still with this person. I think you became victorious and moving away from this person, but you're still stuck in your head. Okay. In your third position, which is your hopes, your dreams, what you wish. You have the High Priestess, the Ten of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. So, your hopes and fears are that, you know, you going within, that you finally just see things for what it is. You finally are able to, you know, forgive the situation so you can forgive yourself. Trusting that you can love again. Trusting that you can even trust yourself. After this past situation, you're kind of like, I don't even know if I trust myself to be in love right now. You know, with the Ten of Cups, it does talk about love and being with someone. So, like I said in my previous videos for the end of mid-September, you know, there could have been somebody, and you got the Swords energy again, so it could have very well been a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius that came in your life, and you're still in that indecisive state because you are heavily thinking about your past. And you wish that you could just let go, release the past, trust yourself enough to love yourself, and to know that because you love yourself, you're not going to accept anybody loving or treating you any less than. With the Queen of Pentacles being in that position, it's also talking about, you know, a woman who realizes that, it could be a woman or man, sorry, but a person who realizes that, you know, I gotta love me first. I gotta take care of me before I can take care of anyone else. You know, maybe in the past you was doing for too many other people, and it left you feeling tired and drained and just tired, just you was just sluggish, and because you was taking care of everybody else but yourself. Now you're starting to realize and wake up to the ideal of, it's time for you have to love yourself first. You got to trust yourself first. You got to take care of yourself first, before you can take care of someone else. So that's your hopes and dreams, to get to that point, that position. In your fourth position, so in the fourth row, you have the Knight of Swords, that is the Hierophant, and the King of Swords. Again, it could be a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius that you're either thinking about, or that you're now currently maybe talking to, and you're kind of like undecided about, or it just could be somebody who possesses those energies, or you just being in your head. However it goes. But in the fourth row, that talks about things that you know, the fears that you already know. And the fears that you already know is you rush into things. You rush into relationships, or you jump to conclusions and think that you're going to be used automatically. The Knight of Swords is talking about rushing in. So you rush into things. And it may be the feeling, and it's not even a feeling because it's a sword, so it's the thought. You rush into things thinking that, oh, well, this is going to turn out like always before, you know, things like that, because this mental energy is still, that past energy is still on your mind. So you're rushing into a situation with the same mindset. The Hermit is telling you, you might be looking at the present person, or somebody who's going to be coming and making themselves known. You might be looking at them like you're the same person but a different body. There's some things about you, about this particular person, that kind of reminds you of the person in the past. That may be why you're reflecting so much of this other person right now, currently. Take that part as it resonates. But with the King of Swords, in the position that he is standing in, it's like, you know, he's ready to take on a fight if needed. His sword is planted into the ground, but it's not a fight, a physical fight. It's not an emotional fight. It's more of a guarded, this is who I am and take a stand type of thing. It's more of a mental thing. It's like cutting the emotions off and standing in the power of your mind and saying that I will not move my mindset for anyone. So that's your fear of not really moving, staying stuck in your ways, staying stuck in the past and feeling like somebody's going to hurt you. What you don't know and what you don't see is your unknown fears is number 5. So in row 5 you have the 2 of Swords, the Queen of Cups, and the Star cards. Like I said, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. So in your unknown fears, it's like you're trying to tune out the damage of the past, but you're not realizing that that blue sword and that red sword, they mean 2 different things. The blue sword means that you're defended mentally. So you're not using your emotions, you're using your mind here, and it's still kind of defensive. And the red sword is more like a material type of defense. It's like, you know, I would say things of the physical world, so it's like a physical defense. So you're just guarded. You know, and then you go to, so with the 2 of Swords, you're just a guarded person right now. You know, not trying to see things for what they are, but more or less staying stuck in your head, and that's what's making you guarded with the 2 of Swords. Then with the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups is a woman who knows heartbreak. She's known sorrow. She's known disappointment. But, you know, in the position that she's in, she's at ease. She's underneath the night sky. She's just looking out. And, you know, she decides to be open to love, even though she knows heartbreak. And she knows she knows that she's hurt, but, you know, she's kind of being open to it. But yet again, she's not really, she could be kind of masking her emotions. I just noticed that she looked like she has a spotlight on her. So maybe it's where you're defensive mentally, but your emotions, you're starting to allow your emotions to come out just a little bit. You're not giving too much. Like, you're even mentally contemplating how you're going to give emotions, if that makes any sense to anyone. The Star card below is talking about there is a breakthrough coming. There is something that is going to come. But you got to be open. You got to be receptive. You're probably not seeing that it's probably already arrived because you're still stuck in your head. You're keeping your feelings to yourself. You're not really communicating the feelings. You know you have them. I guess that the Queen being lit is like you're starting to acknowledge you do have feelings for this new person or whomever this is, but you're still not saying anything. Although there's a breakthrough there. If you look at the Star card right here, it shows that there's a rose behind her, and the rose is fully blown. And yes, there's a man in front of her that looks like he's he's imaginary. But it's like you do have love near you, but you don't think this person is real. You think this person is going to end up like everyone else in your past, or the more recent person that you walked away from. In your 6th row, that is talking about the short-term future. So short-term, what's going to end up happening is the Knave of Cups, the Fool, and the 7 of Cups. Okay. So the Knight of Cups, you decide to keep your feelings to yourself and not really say too much of anything. And this turtle can represent an old soul, but it can also represent something old, something you're slowly getting out of, because turtles are slow, but they also represent like old, so wise or whatever. So you're kind of holding back on your feelings or whatever because of things in your past, because you've been hurt and damaged before. You know, you're not used to having someone that you can rely on. You're not used to having somebody that you can count on. You know, you're used to being the one that takes care of everybody, and have very little to nothing for yourself after the fact. So then you go to the Fool, and the Fool is saying, you know, but eventually you get out of that whole mindset, and you decide to go into the unknown. Take the Fool's journey. Even though you're keeping your emotions at bay, you're still going to just say, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. The Seven of Cups in that position is like, you know, it's like you're staying in the shallow waters of emotions. You recognize that you have them. You see that you have them. You know that this could possibly be something good. You're kind of opening yourself up to this possibility, but you're still a little guarded. You're not as guarded as you started, but you're still a little guarded. But you decide to give it a chance. But right now, you're kind of staying in the shadow ends of this, just to kind of guard you, just kind of protect yourself. Okay, in your seventh position, your final row is the overall your long-term future, your overall future in this situation. You have the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Two of Cups. Basically, you make the decision to walk away from all your hurt, old feelings, and you decide to give this Knight of Pentacles a try. The Knight of Pentacles is a very hard-working individual. They're very trustworthy. They could be stable, kind of reliable. He mirrors you. He mirrors who you were to everyone in your past. He starts to mirror that. He's not fully a king or empress yet, because you are still guarding yourself from him. So you can only start to see what you allow yourself to see for this moment. And what you're allowing yourself to start to see is, hey, wait a minute, he is kind of reliable. He is kind of a good person. He might not be the person, or I'm sorry, I dropped my pen, so I was picking it up. But he may not be like my past person. I'm starting to feel like, this could be a balanced situation. With the Two of Cups, they're telling you, even though there's a night time here, and usually people are like, well, it's unforeseen things. But no, truthfully, this card, the Two of Cups in that position, is saying it's safe for you to love. Trust your heart and give your feelings. And you're able to see real clear. So now you're able to see clearly that you can trust this person. So maybe this week, Cancer, you're going to be put in a position where situations are going to come up that's going to remind you of the past, where you was giving, you was, doing whatever you could do for other people, but people were still being sneaky and deceptive, which kept you feeling like lonely, like you was being used and taken advantage of. And although you progressed and moved away from the situation, it wasn't really a good victory, because you felt like you were still trapped to it mentally. You see people still struggling, fighting, because you see the fire outside the window, but you had to remove yourself to kind of save yourself. And that was your first act of becoming the Queen of Pentacles, recognizing that you can't save everybody. It's not your job. But by the end of the week, whoever this new person is that's been showing up in you guys' reading, they come through and start to do stuff or do something that makes you realize that you can trust them. That they're made, that I'm not going to say they're not, because I don't know what the next week's going to hold. But as of right now, it's saying that it's safe for you to love. This person is going to mirror you. As you start to open your eyes, he probably will evolve into the king. But right now, you only see him as a knight because you don't know fully if you can trust him or not. Him or her. But let's get to your oracle cards. We're going to start over here, and then we'll work our way over there. Okay? Your first oracle card you have is difference. Although this present person or situation are very similar or may appear similar, they are not the same. Just like apples and oranges, they are both fruits, but they are both different. So that's something you got to learn. Just because you may see some similarities don't mean that that person's the same. Letting go is your next one. Freedom of choice, free will. You are holding on to something way too tight or someone against their will by keeping yourself mentally bound to this person or situation. So while you may have physically let this person go, emotionally you might have let them go, you are actually withholding them of their free will because of your mind. If that makes any sense to you. Your third card you got was High Priestess of Water. The High Priestess of Water asks you to go with the flow. You cannot be afraid of change. It is beautiful and powerful. Open up and receive each lesson, because it will, even if it's bad, it will turn into a blessing. The experience, and enjoy the experience. Your next card over here, you have the color green. Green means love, healing, growth. But you got victim. Victim, in order for an acorn to grow into a tree, it has to be brown. A green acorn indicates you need more grounding and more knowledge as to what you really want. It asks you to ask yourself these two questions. What do you really want? And here's the food for thought. Oh, it's not two questions, sorry. Food for thought. How have my actions connected my inability to create a breakthrough? And the second question is, am I willing to make new choices in order to grow? So are you ready to grow? So growing means that you got to get up out of this and make some new choices, some new decisions. And how is it that this is stopping you from growing or receiving the breakthrough that's here? The next two cards is your message and advice from Spirit. You got the corn and soul retrieval. Release your insecurities. The universe or your higher being has your back. You must be in relationship with your higher self to really be able to see and understand the meaning. You reap what you sow. When did you come? And this is soul retrieval. When did you compromise your beliefs, the way you love, the way you accepted love? What have you or are you agreeing to in the name of love? It is time to retrieve your soul back and stand in your truth. Simply put, this is not what it means to compromise in love. Okay, Cancer, like I said, I do apologize for not shuffling on camera. As you can see, it's 21 cards plus oracles. I have no reason to fix a reading. I don't know you personally, so please just take the message and take what resonates. Everything else leave here. Peace and many blessings. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.